I'm Dr. Elizabeth Bergey. I'm President and CEO of Quantum Imaging and Therapeutic Associates, and I have ADD. The attention part was a lot of times why I got the directions wrong. And then sometimes on tests I would skip a problem, and so I might know how to do it, but somehow I didn't see it on the test paper, or I would be asked a question sometimes in class and answer the wrong question because I kind of was zoning out. So that was kind of rough. My teachers didn't always take my work. They said it was too messy to read, and that was very frustrating. It made me sad and made me feel kind of like I was not that bright. And I didn't always get the best grades when I would get a 0 for something because they would refuse to read it. And then I also forgot a lot of things like deadlines or directions. Sometimes I would do it correctly, but then lose it on the way to school or in my backpack, or my locker was always really, really messy. Things would fall out of it and get lost in it, and it was just kind of really yucky. And the hyper part is I shake a lot and I can't sit still, so I used to shake my leg, and then when I was in medical school, all the seats were attached, and everybody on my row would tell me to quit it because it was shaking the whole row, and it was kind of a little embarrassing. Very impatient person, and I have emotions that are kind of simmer under the surface, and they go up and down very quickly. So I've kind of learned that I shouldn't react quick to things right away. I should not fire off emails in response to anything, because if I do, I say and do things that I wouldn't if I would have waited a little bit until that emotion went back down again. I really can't change that. Like, I still get angry quickly, but I have been able to recognize it in myself, and usually, not always, but usually I can turn it at least off. It's hard dealing with my children sometimes when they do things that incite that emotion, and I've yelled at them, or I have said hurtful things that I wish I didn't. And when I'm in that state, I love my children and my family so much that things that happen tend to swing those emotions even more strongly. So I think that's been the worst thing when I've kind of lost my temper with my kids, and potentially can hurt that relationship. I would like to say that there are some really good things about having ADD, and I don't think I would trade the good things to get rid of the bad things. I think they outweigh the bad things. One is I can really think outside the box. I think differently than a lot of people, and I come to solutions to problems differently, and I get novel ideas on how to approach a problem. And some of my best ideas, I think, come out of my ADD. The way that I look at the world is a little bit different than the average person. I kind of like it, and I can paint, and there's other creative outlets that I find that I think are what makes me me. I have learned that when you make a mistake in this life, you immediately try to do damage control, and then you sit back and you learn from it, and you try not to do it again once you've learned. But even if you do it again, you just kind of repeat the cycle and try to convince yourself that you're gonna stop and pause in the future. The only part of it that really continues to negatively impact my life is the emotional part, the disorder and the disorganization. I've been able to develop strategies related to keeping my Outlook calendar and having a good assistant. So that part I've kind of overcome without too much trouble. But the emotional highs and lows continue to be a challenge for me, though I think I'm as successful as often as not. And the creativity part of it and the think outside of the box and the different way that I see the world, I think has really helped me be successful in my career and has really added a lot of depth to my life. And so I think at this point, the good outweighs the bad. And fortunately, I have a very understanding family. And when I'm in that funk, I can just tell them, it's best not to talk to me right now while I'm trying to get myself under control. And they recognize that now, and I hopefully am hurting less feelings than I used to.